In this chapter, we're going to go over post-processing. Now, the post-processing node can look really complex. There's a ton of different options inside of it, but ultimately, it allows for look development. And the node can be broken down into 4 key areas: lens effects, color grading, film type effects, and different rendering features. In the next video, we're going to go over some of the 17 content examples, so you can see the wide range of options that this node allows. The post-process volume documentation is a great complement to the content examples, and there's a lot of documentation for it. There's 13 separate categories: anti-aliasing, eye adaptation, bloom, blendables, color grading, depth of field, lens flares, panini, which is an optical correction type of node, post-process materials, chromatic aberration, screen space reflections, vignetting, and lookup tables. Now, since this is a foundations class, we are going to cover a limited amount of all of these different options. But this is going to be a good reference document for you, as well as knowing that there are some really great resources that we're going to go over in the beginning and we're going to link to in the end of this chapter. One thing that's worth mentioning that looks towards the future is that Unreal has made the post-processing node in line with the ACES, Academy Color Encoding System. That means that it's high dynamic range compliant, at least for most of the options. So I'll mention some of the areas like LUTs. They're not always HDR compliant. However, it allows for additional color grading and white balance control, and also some of the emissive effects that are connected to blooms are much more physically correct now. In this chapter, we are going to go over the basics. We're going to go over the volume settings. We're going to go over some lens effects and film effects. We'll talk about vignetting, grain, focus. We'll talk about using a post-process for user interface, where it could create an outline of an object as you move over it. We're going to talk about it for rendering and stylization, screen space ambient occlusion, lookup tables, and we'll also use an example where the post-process volume is used for a visual effect. All right, awesome. So let's jump in and start learning about the post-process volume.